After feeding thousands of people with bread and fish, Jesus instructed his disciples to get into a boat and travel across the Sea of Galilee while he remained behind. The disciples obeyed and launched their boat into the water. Meanwhile, Jesus climbed a nearby mountain alone to spend time praying to his heavenly Father. As darkness covered the region, Jesus continued praying alone. The disciples rowed steadily across the lake, unaware that an unforgettable miracle would soon occur. Far from shore, strong winds suddenly arose and battered the boat. Large waves crashed repeatedly against the vessel, making progress across the lake extremely difficult. Hour after hour the disciples fought the storm. Their arms grew tired from rowing while the fierce wind pushed them farther from their destination. From the mountain, Jesus saw his disciples struggling in the distance. Filled with compassion, he decided to go to them in a miraculous way. During the darkest part of the night, Jesus descended toward the shore. The wind continued blowing fiercely as waves rolled across the troubled water. Then an astonishing miracle occurred. Jesus stepped onto the surface of the sea and began walking across the water toward the struggling disciples. The disciples noticed a figure approaching through the storm. Fear immediately filled their hearts because they could not recognize who was coming. Terrified, they cried out in fear and believed they were seeing a ghost. The strange sight seemed impossible according to everything they understood. Jesus immediately spoke to reassure them. His familiar voice carried across the wind, telling them not to be afraid because it was truly him. Hearing Jesus' voice, the disciples began calming down. Peter, however, wanted proof and boldly asked Jesus for permission to walk on water. Jesus responded with a simple invitation. He told Peter to come. Trusting Jesus, Peter carefully stepped over the side of the boat. To his amazement, Peter began walking across the water. For several moments, his faith remained fixed upon Jesus despite the storm around him. But when Peter noticed the strong wind and towering waves, fear entered his heart. His attention shifted away from Jesus and toward danger. As fear increased, Peter began sinking into the water. Realizing his helplessness, he immediately cried out for Jesus to save him. Without hesitation, Jesus reached out his hand and grabbed Peter. His powerful grip lifted the disciple safely above the water once again. Jesus gently reminded Peter about faith and doubt. His words encouraged the disciple to trust God's power more than frightening circumstances. Together they walked toward the boat. The remaining disciples watched in amazement as Jesus and Peter approached across the surface of the sea. When Jesus entered the boat, an immediate change occurred. The fierce winds stopped blowing and the raging waves became completely calm. The disciples looked around in astonishment. Moments earlier they had battled a dangerous storm, but now peaceful waters surrounded them completely. Overwhelmed by what they had witnessed, the disciples recognized Jesus' extraordinary authority. Their understanding of his divine nature grew even stronger. They worshipped Jesus inside the boat and declared that he truly was the Son of God. Faith replaced fear throughout the vessel. This remarkable miracle demonstrated that,